Awesome. Thanks for joining me. I'm here with Matthias, and I want to start the interview by learning about how you got into music in the first place. Like, what's your background in music?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, mate. It's very cool to be
Yeah.
here. You already had some cool guests, so yeah, I'm a bit nervous, but also very excited. And sorry for my English. It's not my native language, but I'll try my best, mate. Yeah, a bit about the question. Well, I've always liked music. When I was like 10 or 11, I had some piano lessons in school, but I quit like 2 weeks later. So that doesn't help me at all. But more like in the EDM scene, like when you're younger, you listen to music, but you don't pay that much attention to what are you listening to. So yeah, I think it was like 2014 or 15, and I remember a friend of mine actually showed me "Animals" by Martin Garrix. Um, Obviously, you should know that, yeah. And I love that track. That was like one of my first times actually hearing electronic dance music, and from there I just started exploring, and listening a bit more. Songs like Tsunami, Pyramids, Wake Up, Wizard, that actually was the follow-up to Animals by Martin Garrix, and all these tracks that were big back in the day got me into EDM, and I started listening a lot to Skrillex and watching all the festivals like EDC, Ultra, Tomorrowland, and all that stuff. So I was having so much fun and really like discovered something that a music genre that I enjoyed so much. I remember I got so into EDM that I downloaded Virtual DJ. I don't know if you know that,
No.
but
No.
okay, it is a super basic software where you can DJ in your laptop. And yeah, I started playing some tunes there, just me and my laptop, no DJ equipment or anything. But yeah, it was so fun, and I also learned how to control DMX Lightning. And yeah, that's a bit how I got into music, not into producing, but into the EDM scene and into, yeah, into music.
Yeah, man. So your friend introduced you to Martin Garrix, specifically
Yes,
the track "Animals,"
exactly.
and from there, it kind of this passion from EDM specifically just kind of grew. And then how did you decide, oh, I want to maybe try and make the music myself?
Well, as I was saying, I started DJing before producing, and I think it was 13. Right now I'm 20, so it was 7 years ago. I was watching all the big EDM festivals, and one day I just asked myself how the big ones do this, and why can't I do my own music? So I went online searching for softwares where I could do my music because I was just DJing, DJing. Uh, Basically, you're mixing tracks done by other producers. So yeah, I went online searching. I think I probably searched what the pros used and what Martin Garrix and all these stars used, and I got into the FL Studios website, and it's my actual DAW actually. So I downloaded the demo version of FL Studio, started messing around with things, tweaking knobs, making drum loops, and showed that to my friends. And not gonna lie, the first year of tracks, and not even tracks, just random stuff, was
Yeah.
absolutely awful. The just like an 8 bar drum loop with some random synths or anything. Um, but yeah, I showed that to my friends, and they were like, "Yo, this is cool." And it's very like I was the first one to actually know how to produce in my school. Um, so that was like, I don't know how you say it in English, but like, yeah, I was the first one.
Yeah.
Um, but I got so interested that I started watching a lot of YouTube tutorials, master classes, and anything I could find just to improve my sound. Um, for me, I learned everything from YouTube. Like YouTube is my school, and I think you can learn anything from YouTube if you have the passion for it. Um, and yeah, I was having so much fun creating, and so from there, you start getting better and at producing, like improving your sound and getting more and more into mixing, sound design, and more advanced stuff like that. And but yeah, that's a bit how I got into producing. And the first things I did was some remixes that I still have on my SoundCloud, I think. And yeah, that was the first things that I did.
Awesome, man. So you started producing around the age of 13, and you said at first it wasn't that great, which for anyone just
No.
starting out, of course, obviously, it's gonna not be that great. But at what point, like how long, how many years did it take for you to listen to your music and decide that it was good enough for you to release, to actually put out there on SoundCloud?
Um, I think my first track uh, that I like make it public on SoundCloud was around 2018, and I was 15, or yeah, yeah, 15. So I think I got into music, and 1 year later, I just decided to release a my first remix. It is a remix for Noah Kahan called "Hurt Somebody," and it's still on YouTube. You can check it out. It's not that good, but I have good memories from that. Yeah, I showed that to my friends, and even they played it at a music class, because in school we have a subject that it's called music, and they played it there, and the professor like asked me, yeah, you made this, and I was like, yeah, I made this, and my friends liked the track. So um, but the point where I think my music like got better and stuff, I think it was probably when I started releasing on Spotify, and that was like in 2020. Because yeah, I think because I was learning all this stuff from YouTube, and I think that process can be a bit slower than learning, for example, from a school or something like uh, yeah, basically slower. And um, sorry, well, and you start in 2020. I think I made a collab with a French guy called Sunshine, and it's not on Spotify yet, because I decided to put it down because I was not happy with the result. But um, yeah, I think I started learning so much and learning and watching a lot of YouTube tutorials and stuff. And at one point, I just said like, I think this sounds cool. I want to share it with the world,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think you sometimes you just have to think, fuck, let's do this. And
Yes.
yeah, I think the point is just when you feel comfortable with what are you making, and obviously it takes some years to improve your sound.
Mhm. But then once you feel comfortable with it enough to put it out there, then you get to share your music with other people, with your friends, with the world.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And you said that you were the first person in your school to learn how to produce music, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that like a cool thing? Or did that make you like cool, like popular in school, being able to produce?
No, no, but I wasn't like a weirdo either, um, well, I've always been like normal dude in school. But that actually was, my friends were proud of what I was making, and they were happy, because sometimes I just grab my friend's voice and make a drop out of it, or something, and that was fun. But no, I wasn't cooler or anything by doing that. But yeah, basically that. my life hasn't changed. But some friends and some people like reach out to me to ask me how I did it and how I learned to produce and stuff. That happened.
So maybe you are like an inspiration in some ways to other people that want to do the same thing.
Well, I would like to think that, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
no, I think just like a starting point to them, because a lot of people in my school were passionate about music also, um, and they are making music right now, other genres. But yeah, I teach them some like the basic stuff, and from there they just start getting better. But most of them are not producers, are just rappers and stuff. But yeah, they know like the basics of producing. So yeah.
Awesome, man. So you started putting music out around the age of 15. Did you do anything to promote your music to try and get people to listen to it?
um yes. um and actually that helped me a lot, because I don't know if you checked my Spotify, but I have a song called "Missing You" who reached 100,000 streams.
Yeah.
And I, I am going to give a little tip for producers. I think it's very important to make a good marketing with your releases. It's very important that your track sounds good, but also to share it. Um, and what I did was I went, for example, on Spotify, and I make tropical house music. So I just searched tropical house music, and I put the playlists that that Spotify showed me, and I was looking for some kind of email or Instagram where I can reach out to the people behind the playlist. And
Hmm.
I just wrote them like an email saying, "Yo, I'm Matga, a producer. I am, I don't know, 19 years old, and this is my latest track. I want you to check it out." And same thing on YouTube. I just went and searched tropical house mix and filtered that by a month, and uh, so you can see the latest active channels. And I just sat like for an hour a day, writing emails to different playlists, YouTube channels, to see if they can listen to my song and maybe feature it in their YouTube channels or add it to the Spotify playlist. And in 90% of the cases, they will not answer, or they will ask you for money. And in case you have the money, I think it's okay to spend a little bit on the promotion. But there are still some good people who can share your music just because they liked it, And that's what happened with my release, "Missing You." Um, I reached out to some channel on YouTube, and I got an email back like a week later saying, "Yo, we like this track, and we would like to feature it on our YouTube channels and Spotify playlist." And it was like a big record label. And yes, I was so happy, and they added to different Spotify playlists, and it went to a lot of YouTube channels, and started getting a lot of Spotify plays. And yeah, that's a bit how I promoted my music, because in Instagram not very active or anything, but yeah, you should like give you some time to promote your releases. Like, try to reach out to people who can help you.
Awesome. So you put the time in and really just reached out to a bunch of these YouTube channels and Spotify playlists. And like you said, a lot of them never even responded, or a lot of
Yes.
them wanted payment.
Yes.
But some of them were like, yeah, we want to put this out. And that really helped your track. Like you said, it's over 100,000 plays, which is crazy.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. And
Yeah,
yeah, those were very kind people to me, you know. And actually, I released a track 1 year later, and I reached out to them like, "Yo, this is my newest track. Uh, hope you like it. You can check it out if you like it." And they check it out, and they also featured it in their YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm very grateful for them. They are called Universe Deep, so something like that. They're like a big YouTube channel community and stuff.
that's so cool. So that these the same channel that posted your music before, you reach out to them again, and they're still supporting you.
Yes, mate, that was amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's all because you put yourself out there and put the time in to reach out to them.
yes, yes. I
Yeah,
think it is very important to do that.
yeah. Because no matter how good your music is, like you still need people to hear it, to listen to it, and
Yeah, mate,
yeah.
absolutely. And it's difficult when you start to get plays. You know, last year I released a track called Another Love, and it has like a thousand plays. And and yeah, I tried to contact this YouTube channel again, but they didn't respond. Um, but yeah, it is hard to get people to know you, and and but yeah, you just need to, you know, it's very important to produce a good track, but it is also very important to do the promotion of the track and all that stuff.
Awesome, man. I want to go back to the production. You said that you've been producing for about 5 years, and your music has gotten a lot better, more professional sounding. Do you have any like tips for producers that like things that really helped you with your production?
um, yeah, I like that question. Well, I think something I've learned not that much time ago is sound selection. I think sometimes less is more, and when you're making, for example, a lead, you're layering different sounds to make it sound bigger, right? To make it sound fuller. So it's better to have three well-picked sounds than seven layers just like randomly chosen to make it bigger, because you have to make sure that those layers are working nice with each other. They are not clashing, and you have to make sure also that every layer does add something to the lead. You can try this by playing the lead and muting one of your synths, for example. If the lead sounds exactly the same, I think you're just wasting CPU. and
Mm,
And yeah, if you have a lot of layers, they're going to fight for space in the mix and clash with each other, and that can lead to a bad mix. And I think it's the same with drums. Like about some time ago, I just threw some drum samples uh, in the playlist, like claps, hats, and stuff, and not knowing like what I was doing. Um, for example, I wanted to create a clap for a drop, and I layered like five claps, and you know that I think it's better to layer two claps or maybe just one clap.
mm,
Um, but now I take the time to select the right amount of samples and create some groovy drums with less samples. That way, you also have more control and more space in your mix, and you can achieve a better mix. And yeah, another tip, I think, well, I EQ everything, you know, from the main elements like the synths, vocals, and chords to the last tiny details, some weird sample or anything. Most of my EQing is just basic stuff like cutting some very low frequencies to keep a clean low end, and cutting or putting down some nasty frequencies. I don't know if it's right to do this, to EQ everything or not, but in music there's no rules, and for me it works. And that way you can achieve a cleaner and a clean mix and a more even more cleaner low end. but try not to overdo it because otherwise your mix can sound like lacking of high frequencies or sound muddy. So you want to avoid that, you know?
Also, man, I appreciate. I think anyone that produces music can relate to both of those, especially the first one where less really is more. And I think every beginner does this. The same thing that you did. I did the same thing where I'll add a bunch of stuff into the mix without really having a clear purpose for why I'm adding it. Like you said, you layered like five claps
Yeah,
just because, like, let's make it sound big. But you're right. You need to make sure that if you're adding something to your mix, like it has a purpose, a benefit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have
Otherwise,
to know what are you doing.
yeah. Like if you do something, you need to know why and what is
Yes.
done. Yeah.
Can I ask you? Are you a producer too?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
also
man.
more of a beginner, but yeah, I
Okay.
produce. Yeah.
How much time are you in right now?
I started in 2020,
Oh,
so
okay.
a little over 3 years. I started at the start of COVID, which I think a
Okay.
lot of people did too. Yeah.
Yeah. And which genres are you producing?
I mainly produce different kinds of house. Like
Yeah.
I like piano house
Oh, I
and
like.
more like melodic house, melodic bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some Sigala stuff and something like that.
I like Sigala, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's very cool. I've tried to make some Sigala tracks, but the drops were lacking of energy, so I didn't release that.
It is interesting because his drops seem like they're very like maybe not minimalistic, but like not a lot going on, but also very high energy
Yeah,
and exciting. It's
yeah,
interesting.
and that's something because I mainly produce like tropical house, and tropical house has like a slower BPM, and sometimes it's hard to fill up the space because like in progressive house, for example, or hardstyle, you're just like a kick every second. It's super aggressive. So when you're like in a slower tempo, you have more space between kicks, and you have a lot of space to fill. And sometimes in tropical house, it's difficult to make it sound big and energetic because of the BPM, you know. Uh, and yeah, and Sigala, I think his tracks are more like 120 BPM. But yeah, the pianos and all that stuff that he makes are very energetic, and it's very cool. I think it's a very good producer.
How do you fill out the track then when you make tropical house? When it's a sub BPM, how do you make it sound big?
Well, I think it's very important to have like a good drums, um, but also I play a lot with reverb. For example, I released a remix like a month ago for Victoria Nadine's song "Happy Tears," and I think all the energy uh, from the drop in that track is because of the pianos, and obviously there's a lot of mixing, you know, OTT and Kickstart and stuff, but sometimes you can fill those gaps or those space that space with reverb, and yeah, the pianos, like super strong pianos like Nexus pianos, you can feel it well with the vocal chops also, because yeah, making a tropical house tracks without vocals, it is hard, you know, because you don't have like vocals to fill the space. And also what I was saying earlier, the drums, I use a lot of like ear candy, you know, some um tambourines and things, some sweeps, anything that can keep you engaged in, I don't know how do you say it in English, like engaged.
I think engaged is the right
Yeah,
word. Definitely. Yeah.
like to the job, like you still have to pay attention to the job.
Yeah. Keep you interested.
Exactly, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Because like a lot of the faster paced music, really all they need is like a kick and
Yeah.
some kind of snare. And because it's so
Yes.
fast, it fills everything out.
But
But
that is also a bit more difficult to mix, because you have a lot of elements, so they're clashing with each other, and you have like a frequency spectrum that um, every instrument or every synth it's trying to get his own space. And yeah, I've tried to make like progressive house, and right now I'm making a progressive house song, and it's sounding cool. But when I was like 2 years ago, my mixing was not that good, and making progressive house having so much elements in the drop was a big problem for me. And so yeah, it is hard to mix sometimes like the up tempo um, genres.
it is hard. Like how do you avoid having a muddy mix?
um, I think if you EQ right, and going back to what I was saying, the less is more. And for example, in the track that I was working in, I just have like some drums that are very basic. I just a kick, some claps, rides, and that's it. And the drop just consists of some synths for the lead and chords and the bass. And if you mix and you don't have like a lot of reverb going on, and anything, it's you do like you have a clean low end, and you use the kickstart well. I think you can achieve a great mix without being muddy. And also you can like in the final stage of production, like in the mastering, you can add like a boost on the high frequencies just to make it sound crispier.
Mm, awesome, man. Now, I want you to walk through your workflow. Like, how do you go about making a new song?
um, well, it depends a lot on the song I'm working. Sometimes I start with the drums. Sometimes I will start with a vocal or a sample that I like. But most of the time, what I do, I just start with a chord progression, you know, on a piano, and I write a top melody on it. And when like I have like the idea of the song, I just start the arrangement. Normally, I would start with the breaks and later with the build-ups to bring like the tension up, and to finally make the drop. Um, and I also do the mixing while I'm producing and making the track, because there's a lot of producers who mix their tracks like after they compose like the whole song.
Mm,
And for me, I don't know. There's not a better way to do it, but I just like to keep mixing the elements while I'm making the song. I'm used to that. I think you have more control or anything. I think if you mix like in the end, your mix can sound like a bit crazy. Uh,
mm,
but yeah, I mainly start with a chord progression and a melody, but I also love like working in the drop first. Like when I have like a drop idea in my head, for example, my song "Another Love" that I released last year. Um, that song, just I wrote like the melody, and instantly I just went to make the drop. Um, but yeah, and in the final stage of the production of a song, I like to polish like the tiny details, and yeah, and master the track. But as I was saying, it depends on the song, because for example, in my remix for Victoria Nadine, um, I just started the track. Well, I was listening to Spotify and I loved his voice, and I started the track with her vocal, sorry. And yeah, from there I just like grab a contact because I don't know how to play guitar. So I use like the contact libraries and just play a guitar, arrange like the chords to for the guitar, and yeah, start building up like the track. And what I do, it is like a Kaigo tip. I have a MIDI keyboard, and I chop like a part of the vocal that I like to make vocal chops, and I just start messing playing around with my keyboard until I hear something like that I like or that caught me off guard, and yeah, and pitch it up sometimes some of the notes or pitch it down, and yeah, just like that you're composing like the melody for the drop, and that's the way how we did it for the remix, just playing around, waiting for something to sound cool, and yeah, you just write it down, and from there you just start um, working and polishing the details.
Right. So you took like a vocal chop, part of the vocal,
Mhm.
and then started playing that as like notes on your MIDI keyboard.
Well, I grabbed like the chorus of the vocal, and there's you use do you use FL Studio or
I
other?
use Ableton.
Oh, Ableton. I've tried Ableton, and I think it's very cool because it is more intuitive than other DAWs. But in FL Studio, there's a plugin called Fruity Slicer. And
Yes,
so
yeah.
yeah, it slices like the vocal, and if you play a note in the MIDI keyboard, it will play like the chopped, uh, very the chopped vocal. Sorry.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just add like a little reverb, a kickstart, and start playing like that. Yeah, that's it.
So that is, you said a Kygo tip too.
Yes,
There, he'll just play it and then he'll find something that sounds good.
yes, exactly.
And who do you know the song "Higher Love"? It's like boom, boom, boom.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah,
love it.
is that Kygo?
Yes, it is
Yeah,
Kaigo.
that sounds like exactly what you're talking about. Like he just played around on
Yeah,
his keyboard until he found something.
yes, man. He does that, and he has some great tutorials on YouTube. You should. I don't know if you have check it out,
Let
but
me write it down. Yeah. No, I have not seen any of Kaigo's
no,
tutorials,
you
I don't think.
absolutely have to check that out. Uh, he has tutorials like for I'll wait. I think um, freedom, and that also have vocal chops and stuff. And yeah, his tutorials are amazing. And he also released like a production course, but I have not bought that. Uh, Sorry.
Because the production course costs money, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, like $300. So it is a
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
It is high. The price is a bit high. But yeah, it
Yeah.
is a Kaigo trick. It is very interesting, and a lot of tracks actually use that.
Cool, man. And you mentioned that you learned a lot from Kaigo's YouTube videos. Are there any other YouTube channels that you can think of that were helpful?
Yeah, man, a lot. Well, the first channel that started watching was Ed1, but I that was like some more basic stuff. But he is an amazing guy. He taught me a lot. But like YouTube channels, I'd say Big Z. He's an
Oh, Big
amazing
Z,
producer.
yeah.
Yeah,
How about
it's
his?
amazing. I'd say, let me think. Well, in YouTube, I also watch a lot of Martin Garrix's master classes, and a lot of Stamp Records artist master classes. And I can't remember right now. Well, Jonas Aiden. I don't know if you.
I've seen Jonas Aiden's videos
Yeah,
too. I forgot about him. Yeah.
yeah. Nowadays he's Aiden Foyer, but back in the day he was Jonas Aiden. And yeah, he's an amazing producer. and his videos are amazing also. So yeah, those channels. I'm trying to remember. I have like a name in my tongue, but I can't. I can remember. But yeah,
No worries, man. You gave us plenty of good examples. Big
yeah,
Z, Martin Garrix, Jonas Aiden. You said now is Aiden Foyer?
yes, he's releasing under another name because he's making like not electronic dance music, uh, like some other genres, but
Oh, no way.
also very cool music.
No, I had no idea. I'll check that out after this. um, I want to know about any challenges that you've faced on your journey in music production. Does anything come to mind, like anything that was preventing you from growing?
um, yeah, I think the number one challenge I still have to deal to this day is producer's block. And I think it's important to take breaks if you're burnt out. And one thing I do to face producer's block is I have a MIDI folder called MIDI files where I store chord progression, random melodies, or anything that comes to my head, but I never work in. And sometimes when you're burnt out and nothing comes out of your head, you can take a look to those files and find something that you like. Um, because you forgot about those melodies, and hearing those melodies again can get you inspired, and also listening to your favorite music, um, that also can get you inspired. And yeah, another like challenge, it's being so perfectionist. I
Mm,
think that pushing yourself, it is good because you always want to improve your sound and production, but for me that also leads to not finishing tracks, and that's a big problem, I think every producer has that problem. I have tons of files of just unfinished stuff, and the reason uh, why that happens is you get blocked on the current project you're working in, so you start another and another idea, and it goes like that. So what can help you to finish stuff is to set deadlines to your projects. Like even for myself, I was working on the Victoria Nadine remix, and it was almost complete, and I was like, okay, but how do I finish it? I need to add something more, and yeah, and the time just goes. The clock never stops, and so one day I was like, I have to get this done. I just polished like those last tiny details that I didn't like, and start mastering the track, and yeah, I think I achieved a cool sound. And this is not like that related to producing actually, but I think a big problem also is the fear of what people will say about you, or like leaving the comfort zone, because it's so comfortable to stay in your comfort zone, and it's super cheesy to say that, but it's comfortable to not take risks. And for me, as an example, it was hard to take this interview because I was like overthinking, like, well, my English is not that good, I am not like the biggest producer out there, so but and it's the same with music. Like the other day I was coming back from college, and I was actually listening to one of your podcasts, and
oh,
I
no
think,
way.
yeah, man, I love it. I learned a lot from your podcast. I think you're doing a really good job, mate. So, but I think it was Godfather, and he mentioned, um, like, you have to get things done, and I still dab a lot of I don't know, should I release this track or should I not? Should I continue making this genre, or even am I good enough? And yeah, I think, and what also Godfather said, that we should start caring a bit less about what all other people think, and just like do our thing. And as I said earlier, fuck, let's do this. But yeah,
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, I really appreciate you coming on here. No need to be nervous, man. Your English has been perfect, and you've
thank
already
you.
provided so much valuable insight, like for me alone, and I'm sure anyone else listening, like, has already learned a lot from this. So yeah, man. And I think you offered some very valuable advice. Like for example, with the writer's block, I think you're exactly right. Like sometimes you'll open up your DAW and just nothing will be coming out, and then having some kind of inspiration there. Like you said, you have your MIDI pack, or even just listening to music from artists you like can really help
Exactly.
you push through and figure something out.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that the deadline thing too is super helpful. Like if you want to finish a song, commit to a time when you want to be finished with it. And then you'll have to be
Exactly.
finished with it. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, man. I want to talk more about your production. Like you
Hmm.
use FL Studio. I know.
Yes.
You already talked about Fruity Slicer. What are some other tools like plugins, whether they be stock plugins or plugins you purchase? Like what do you use often to make music?
Um, well, actually, a lot of plugins. For synths, I love Serum. Um, I think it's my favorite plugin. You can do a lot of stuff from there, like, from a guitar to like a super acid synth. Um, but I also love using Silent for basses and chords, and for like the real instruments, I use Contact. As I said before, I use Contact for the guitars on my remix, and they have Contact have amazing, super professional libraries, and I also use Labs. I definitely recommend that one. It is a free plugin, and it contains pianos, strings, choirs, etc. And also true pianos. It is very cool. And BBC Symphony Orchestra. It is very cool also, and I think it is free. And like more like in the mixing plugins, I use a lot of Bahal Room. I love that reverb. It is amazing. I was using the FL Studio native reverb, that it's also great, but I was watching a Hardway masterclass, and he said like, "Yo, you should check this plugin out. Like Bahal Room, it's really a game changer in your reverb." So I tried it out, and it is an amazing plugin. Um, I still use I use OTT a lot for the pianos and chords. I think it is a very cool plugin, also free. Kickstart. I use a lot of FabFilter stuff like FabFilter, Saturn, um, Compressor 2, Limiter 2, and for EQing, I use the FL Studio native one also. It is very cool, but you can use the FabFilter. I think it is called Q2 or something like that. And yeah, I've recently been using the Telectronics compressor that was free for a month. So yeah, it is very cool. I also use Alter Boy uh, for my
Mm,
vocal chops on for pitching or things like that. And like more, well, Pancake 2, it is a for panning your elements. For like in the master track, I like to use Endless Smile.
mm,
um
yeah.
you Because yeah, in the build up you can turn like the knob up, and it gives like a super cool effect. Also, Ozone Imager 2. uh Yeah, I think those my also Fresh Air. It is a very cool plugin to make your sound a bit crispier.
Awesome, man. That was like a ton of plugins. I'll have to check. Awesome. I wanted to talk about. You said you were collabing on a track with a French guy, right?
Yes.
How did that happen? Like, how did you meet this guy and decide to collab on a track together?
Um, I don't remember that well because it was like just we started that track in 2019, and I think he stopped making music. Um, but I think it was from a Reddit post actually. Like I searched in Reddit, like EDM collabs or something like that, and this guy answer a comment. And yeah, we just started talking in Discord, and he sent me a track that he was working on, and he asked me like, what you think about this? And I was like, yo, this is very cool, we should add this and this. And yeah, from there just we started talking like from messages, and start building something, sending emails back and forth, newer versions. And yeah, I think I was like 2 years into producing, so I wasn't that good, but it was a good opportunity also to learn from a more advanced producer. And yeah, we decided to put that out, and it went pretty well. And that's the track that I was not that I was talking earlier, that I was not happy with, so I put it down. But you can still find that on YouTube, and it's like a progressive house song to jump.
Nice, man. Do you think you would consider collabing with people in the future as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to do it. I think you learn from each other a lot, and sometimes like combining like your genres or your uh, knowledge about music, it is very cool and can result in very cool things. So yeah, I'm very open to any collab or anything.
Awesome, man. So yeah, one, you learn a lot from this other person, and two,
Yes.
maybe your track is a lot more than it would have been if it was just you
Yes,
producing
and
it.
some, for example, if you're stuck or blocked in a track, like another person can give you an opinion, and maybe that producer can add something that you never thought in adding to your track. So that is very interesting because I think, yeah, it is very interesting.
Yeah, man, and exciting too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, cool. I want to know about the future. Like, where do you see your artist project going? Do you want to keep producing music?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right now I'm in college. I'm studying business and economics. So it is sometimes it is hard to produce. For example, today I got back from college like very late and didn't have. Sometimes I get back and I'm like exhausted, so I don't want to make music. But yeah, in the future, hopefully I would love to be able to live from this, live from what I love doing. And like a lot in the future, I would like to start like a record label. That would be so cool. Like, do you know like Chill Your Mind?
I do not know.
Oh, okay. Well, I love that record label. Not just the music, but like the vibe and the message that like chill and live life. And yeah, I think there's so much talent out there, and I would like to help those upcoming artists and in any future record label. I will also like to start like a platform where I could sell preset packs or sample packs, because I'm trying to learn a sound designing and stuff. Um, but like more in the short term, I would love to start building like a bigger audience, and to engage more listeners. And I want to start releasing more consistently, because I have a year without like an official Spotify release now. But yeah, so as I was saying, with college, it is hard, but I am like 1 month. In 1 month, I will be on holidays. So yeah, on that time, I will produce a lot of music. Um, I would like also to start an alias where I can release like more tech house or minimal house, maybe even melodic techno or some things like that. And I think that I would like also is to start ghost producing. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, for other artists.
Yes, mate, exactly. Just to earn a bit of money and stuff like that. And also some tracks that I produce, but I think like it doesn't fit my style or something, or that I don't like a lot. I would like to sell those ideas. But yeah, that's a bit how I would like to be in the future.
Awesome, man. That's exciting. Like so
Yes.
much to look forward to. Perfect. Well, awesome, man. I think thank you for coming on here. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot. It's great to meet you. Can you tell everyone listening where they can find your work, like your Spotify, your SoundCloud, your Instagram?
Yes, of course. To everyone listening, well, first of all, thanks so much for having me again. It is a big pleasure. Um, People can find me at Spotify, Apple Music, as Matga, and SoundCloud or YouTube, Matga as well. Um, I would definitely recommend anyone listening to check out my Spotify, sorry, my SoundCloud, because I have a lot of remixes that I can't put out on Spotify. And I think like in SoundCloud, it is like the real Matga, like my real sound. And yeah, you can find me also in my Instagram, Matga Music. And yeah, just if any collab or anything, you can just send me a message and I'll be happy.
Awesome, man. Thanks again.